I'm Adam, and this is Modern Windows Fan Video. This is video 1 in the series I'm going to be doing to introduce people to Windows Phone. I know a lot of people who have switched to Windows Phone recently, more people who are thinking of switching, and it got me thinking about how different Windows Phone is from other platforms. If you go from iOS to Android or Android to iOS, it's basically the same stuff, but Windows Phone is a bit different. So I wanted to create a series of videos to help people get up and running and get the most out of their phones, because you can do a lot with Windows Phone, and if you just go into it using it like an iOS or an Android phone, you're going to miss a lot. And so this is video 1, and we're going to cover the absolute basics. So just kind of the Windows Phone user interface, the start screen, the app list, and some basic stuff about apps. Over here, you can see I've got kind of a preview of my phone screen. This is actually being sent to my machine by a Nokia Beamer. And then I'm also going to have my phone live. I'm going to switch cameras on my Surface, and I'll show you what I'm doing on the phone so that you can follow along. All right, so let's get into it. Let me change cameras here. Okay, so when you first turn on your phone after you've gotten past the lock screen, the first thing you'll see is your start screen. Your start screen is your command center. It is the kind of center of your phone. It's where all your stuff, your most important stuff goes. Your start screen is going to be customized by you the way you want it. Everybody's start screen is super different. And it's one of the things that is very, very, very unique and different about Windows Phone. So you can see our start screen is filled with tiles. Tiles are kind of like application icons, and they're kind of like widgets, and they're even kind of like mini applications. At their simplest, a tile might launch an app. So some of these real small tiles I have here, like if I tap on the Xbox Video tile, it opens Xbox Video. But for some of these more complex tiles, you can see I've got this one up at the top. That's my wife's tile. It's kind of rotating, showing me her most recent status update. The Facebook one rotates, shows me a status update. We've got the weather updating and showing me the weather here in Raleigh, North Carolina. We've got the news showing me pictures and headlines from recent news. So you can do a lot, instead of having separate apps and widgets, or having no widgets at all, or having, these tiny little app icons that don't do anything. The start screen, you're able to fill it with the information that's useful to you based on tiles. So how do tiles get there? Tiles get pinned to the start screen. So at its simplest, you can pin an app to the start screen, which that would be a lot like, arranging your app icons on home screens in iOS, or it would be a lot like dragging app icons out of the app drawer onto the home screens in Android. But on Windows, that's just the beginning. Yeah, you can pin apps. I have Twitter pinned, and I have Skype pinned, and I have Audible pinned. But you can also pin content. You can pin things from within apps. So some examples. Here I've got some of my favorite albums, some of my favorite mixes, and playlists pinned right to my start screen. So if I, just want to really quickly get to one of my favorite albums, I don't have to hunt and peck through all sorts of menus and open all these apps. I've just got my favorite music right there on the start screen. And some links. So there are, a few websites that I go to a lot. Rather than, having them in favorites or typing them in every time, I've just got them pinned right to my start screen. Great example right here. I've got folders on my OneDrive pinned to my start screen. So I've got OneDrive, the app, pinned to my start screen, but I've also got folders on my OneDrive. So if I want to go right to my camera roll or go right to my pictures on OneDrive, I don't have to go hunting around. So what makes the start screen so powerful and so customizable So much better than what you get on other platforms is just how deep you can get with the customization. If you have a favorite podcast, you can pin that podcast to the screen. If you have a favorite book or a favorite audio book or whatever, you can pin it to the start. Even favorite people. Like I've got my friends, my closest friends, and my sister and my wife right there on the start screen. So I can get to, their information right away. So that's really powerful. It's very different. You can get your apps to pin to the start screen by going to the app list. So if we drag to the right here, we can see the app list. The app list is the list of all of the applications installed on the phone. So when you go to the store and you install an app, it comes to the app list first. And then you pin it to the start screen if it's something you want on the start screen. So let's say let me pick one. Let's say I just installed this PixArt app. You can right click it, long press, pin to start, and it shoots to my start screen. Here we could make it smaller, make it larger, and it's going to show me some nice previews. We could drag it around. So let's say we want to bring it up to where my other apps are above music. Boom. So whenever you install an app from the store, it's going to show up in your app list. And then if you want, you don't have to, but you can pin it to your start screen. The biggest thing I want to impress upon you is to don't limit what you can do with the start screen based on what you've done on other platforms. I've seen a lot of people who have Windows phones where their start screen is just set up in a grid of the tiny icons, tiny tiles to launch like every app they have on the phone. That's not, you can do that, and if that's what you like, cool. But think outside the box a bit when you're using the start screen. Instead of just pinning, like I did here, instead of just pinning your music app, what are your favorite albums? What are your favorite mixes? If you want to listen to a live mix of one of your favorite bands, just pin that to your start screen. Same thing with links or, books. Like I could go into Kindle and I could take a book I'm reading and I could pin it right to the start screen. And then instead of having to hunt and peck around, I can just open my book right away. So really think outside the box when you're using your Windows phone. It's more than just icons. It's completely customizable. And so that's the start screen in the app list. Just a couple things I wanted to show are how you get apps. We've got the store here. It's got kind of a logo on the front that's like a shopping bag with a Windows logo on it. And here you can install apps. So we could click on apps. And let's say we wanted to install this My Life app. Install. It's going to download here. And it's going to bring me to my app list and show me that it's downloading. And then when this is downloaded and installed, you can launch it, and if you want, you can pin it to the start screen. That's going to take a second to finish installing. So the other thing I wanted to show are, so there it is. What was it called? Oh, this is useful. Anywhere in Windows Phone where you see these headers, see how on my apps, my app list, B, C, D, these alphabetical headers, anytime you see this in Windows Phone, you can tap those headers to get a list of the alphabet. So like if I wanted to go right to my Nokia apps, I could hit N. So that's very useful. That's everywhere in Windows Phone. I think this was called My Life. Yeah. So I could launch it. Cool. I could pin it to my start screen. And I'm actually going to remove it and uninstall it. You can long press an app in the app list, and select uninstall, and it will uninstall the app. Most of the rest of the basic user interaction stuff should be pretty familiar. If you're familiar with iOS or Android, you can, zoom and pan and all that stuff. The only other thing I wanted to point out, some of the basics, are the Windows key down here, the Windows button. This will take you back to the start screen if you're in an app. And the back button will take you back to wherever you were previously. And in some apps, it works as a back button. So like if I'm in the browser and I click this link on the site, hopefully it's fairly fast, then I click the back button, it acts as the back button in the browser. So sometimes the back button on the phone means go back to the last screen, and sometimes it's like a back button like in a browser. You also have the search button down here, which does Bing search. And this is really useful. Whenever you want to search for something online, instead of running to the web browser to go search, hit your search button. And you've got so many great options here. You can do visual search, where you could take a picture of a book and it will search for it. You can do music search, so if someone's playing a song and you want to know what it is, you can search. And you can do local. That's this button here. And this shows you stuff that's nearby, So this is a great example of how powerful Windows Phone is. These three things, local search, music search, actually these four things, local search, music search, web search, and visual search, would be like 4 different apps on most platforms. And here, it's just one tap of the search button on the front of your phone, and you can search for stuff. It also does really great speech recognition. So pizza in Raleigh, North Carolina. There we go. And one of the reasons you'll want to reach for this instead of searching in the browser is you get some really rich results. So you can see it shows me a map. Bella Monica is actually a really great pizza nearby. It shows me a map. If I click on this map, it's going to take me to a map of my area with all of these interesting things. I can find myself on the map, saying, all right, there's where all the pizza is. So you get really rich results that you wouldn't get if you were just typing in a browser. Like if we search for, let's say, a band, we'll search for 9 Inch Nails. We get, the normal web results, and we get news. We get music videos. We get images of the band. We get apps related to the band. We get related stuff. You get really, really good results when you search with the built-in search. So definitely do that before you go, searching for something in the browser. The only other thing I wanted to show is the Windows UI. The settings. I want to show the settings. It's this tile with a gear on it. If you want to change any settings in your phone, they're going to be in here. There's system settings and application settings. Those are 2 things that you want to remember. And the only other thing I wanted to show is this user interface convention that's used a lot in Windows that if you don't know about it, you could miss some stuff. Whenever you see down the bottom here, these 3 little dots in the corner, that means there's a hidden menu. Okay, so like if I go to the music app, it doesn't even look like there's anything at the bottom of the screen, but there's those 3 dots. I hit it and there's actually a ton of stuff. So whenever you're in an app and you're kind of looking for where are the settings or where's the menus, where can I mess with stuff, look for 3 little dots at the bottom of the page. And if you press that, you'll get a menu. So that's the absolute basics of interacting with a Windows phone. You've got your 3 buttons, the back button, the Windows button, and the search button. Search is super important. You've got your start screen that's way more than just an app launcher. So think outside the box. Instead of just pinning apps, try pinning everything. Pin people, pin books, pin music, pin whatever you want. And then your trusty app list where you can find your apps. And so that's the basics of Windows, kind of the basics of interacting with Windows Phone. In the next episode, I'm going to cover some of the tips and tricks in Windows Phone, some of the more advanced stuff that if you get used to doing it right off the bat, you'll just get way more out of your phone. So that's it. Thanks for watching.